I am so excited to share my latest resource, downloadable print your own flashcard decks. These have been created following my many years working with children of all abilities in the clinical setting. And my themed flashcard decks work. The kids love them because they're engaging and they encourage movement, learning, coping skills, and just plain fun. From dinosaurs to Halloween, each deck includes suggested and themed centering techniques, warm-ups, guided meditation, relaxation, yoga-based movement, and games. Each card in the deck includes multiple yoga-based practices to choose from, meaning you can enjoy a different experience each time you play, and there will always be something that's suitable and accessible for the child you are working with or the setting you are working in. These are highly adaptable tools, and they work in the classroom, hospital, office, or home setting. Download and print on card or paper stock of your choice and enjoy creative, adaptable, and accessible adventures for many years to come with children of all abilities and in all settings. I promise you will not regret adding a set of 2 of these to your resource collection. And keep checking in. I have created a lot of these decks over the many years I worked in the clinical setting with children of all abilities, and I'm slowly updating and releasing them to the public so that all children can benefit from these wonderful tools.
Hi, I'm Lisa Roberts from Yo-Yo Yoga School, introducing session 28 of Movement, Meditation and Mindfulness, the training program for pediatric professionals, educators, and parents. Session 28 is an introduction to wellness support for children. And while we'll be exploring specific targeted movement, meditation, and mindfulness practice that target specific outcomes for health challenges that children may be experiencing, I will note that all of the therapeutic practices that I recommend throughout this series are supportive for all ages and all people. The additional benefit of me explaining and demonstrating this series for children is that I will help demonstrate how to make these engaging for children, these practices. But the therapy is the same no matter how old you are. The foundation is the same, but during this, in addition to showing you the therapeutic practices, I'll be demonstrating how to make it fun, engaging for kids, and also how to be aware of developmental differences through each stage. And I'll be showing you how to adapt for that so children are truly supported. But again, these practices benefit anybody and everybody. So this makes this truly, truly, truly wonderful for anybody, even those who don't work with children. So before we begin, just my legal and medical disclaimer. All practices All practices recommended in this webinar series are based on my research and my experience, my years of experience as a yoga professional and leading movement, meditation, and mindfulness sessions in the clinical setting. So support is always strictly for symptomatic relief, and a doctor must always be consulted to diagnose and treat medical problems. I also add that I can't stress enough that you must seek medical advice and clearance from a doctor or a medical profession involved in your or your child's care prior to practicing any of the suggested breathing techniques, wellness modalities, movement, exercises, or activities that I recommend throughout this series. So let's begin. Wellness support, movement, meditation, and mindfulness. How does that become something that is therapeutic and can truly support somebody's wellness? So just a little background on my background is yoga and yoga therapy. And when we think of yoga, it has become very widely accepted and recognized as a bona fide healing modality for the body, mind, and spirit. It is embraced in schools and corporate settings, in part of physical education programs and as part of corporate wellness programs. Doctors, physical therapists, occupational therapists, psychotherapists all prescribe movement, meditation, and mindfulness, and a therapeutic approach to movement, meditation, and mindfulness to their patients. And hospital and medical centers also now offer on-site therapeutic movement, meditation, and mindfulness services to inpatient and outpatient populations. So it's really become such a widely spread and widely accepted. Why? Because it works. So let's break down movement, meditation, and mindfulness. So it can be active, it can be restorative and passive. There are many ways to teach it. And we've explored that in previous webinars, and through this following series, from the point now forward, we'll be exploring how to tailor sessions to truly benefit somebody who is experiencing a health challenge. So movement, when we think about movement, mindful movement of the body, we're increasing strength, we're increasing or maintaining flexibility, coordination, physical tension relief, and supporting the body. Meditation, we're developing mindfulness and self-regulation skills, stress and anxiety relief, pain management, and increased focus and learning. And mindfulness supports the mind-body connection, self-control, self-regulation of the mind, the body, and the breath. So when we think of it that way, you can truly see how perhaps individually, there may be some activities from each of those movement, meditation, and mindfulness that may support somebody who needs some extra wellness support or help or some symptomatic relief. And it may be a combination of these therapeutic practices that can be led or prescribed. I don't really like using that word because it makes it sound like it's a medical, but that can be planned or shared with a patient or a student to support their needs in the moment. So I'm just going to backtrack to a previous webinar I presented on movement, meditation, and mindfulness in the clinical setting. And this is just to open the mind to see the general therapeutic benefits. And when we flip from the mindset of just kids in general doing movement, meditation, and mindfulness just for general development support and fun and for learning and to be active and to learn just some valuable life skills, we're really focusing now on when there is the need for health and wellness support. So I just want to backtrack to the benefits in the clinical setting, because these obviously are very general wellness benefits, but they're truly important. So if we think about movement, meditation, and mindfulness and directing it towards wellness support, it's very complementary to medical treatments, protocols, and surgery. In fact, it can help support a patient through those experiences. Gentle movement can also support recovery and rehabilitation, where with a lot of the breathing techniques, we're increasing oxygen levels. We're boosting immune system function through movement and through breathing and through mindfulness. Symptomatic relief, which is a lot of what we'll be exploring through this wellness series. Pain relief and pain management. Reduction of side effects from medications and from medical procedures and treatments. Reduction in stress and anxiety. Increased energy and vitality. A positive attitude and empowerment. So this again was from a webinar I presented on movement, meditation, and mindfulness in a clinical setting, but you can just see how these benefits, if a child has an episodic health challenge, or if they have a lifelong chronic health challenge, or if they're facing a new health challenge, you can truly see how movement, meditation, and mindfulness, just the general benefits alone, can be really helpful and really supportive for healing. And then when we start looking at our targeted practices, which I'll be sharing over the next coming weeks and months, you can combine those. And a general session would truly help a child, but then when we're bringing in targeted practices that target specific outcomes to support specific health issues, you can see that a lot of magic can happen, and truly a child may find a lot of therapeutic support through movement, meditation, and mindfulness. So the first webinar will be later this week, and session 29 is stress and anxiety. So we'll be focusing on movement, meditation, and mindfulness, first to relieve stress and anxiety or manage stress and anxiety. So we'll be discussing the health risks of stress and anxiety and how that applies to children. We'll be identifying common sources of stress and anxiety for children, and we'll also be identifying symptoms of stress and anxiety in kids. Kids may not even know what stress and anxiety is, so they may not be able to verbalize it. So I'll be showing you or demonstrating and discussing different signs that children may demonstrate that can be a red flag telling you that they are experiencing stress or anxiety. Then I'll be demonstrating some tools to help children identify sources of sense and anxiety for themselves and learn how they personally respond to feelings of stress and anxiety. Knowledge is power, and the sooner we teach our children what those feelings are or how it presents in their body, then they can learn to self-regulate. They can also recognize when they're experiencing it before it escalates. And then we can provide targeted movement, meditation, and mindfulness tools to self-regulate and shift responses when facing stressful situations, as well as targeted movement, meditation, and mindfulness tools to provide relief from the symptoms of stress and anxiety. So it's a lot of tools to help children recognize what stress and anxiety is for them, what it means to them, how they respond to it, and then providing them the tools with the right tools for them to move through and manage stress and anxiety in stressful situations. I'll be including some healthy habit tips to help kids to thrive daily in general, regardless of whether they are experiencing stress and anxiety at this stage in their life or at this moment, but providing them with tools, self-regulation tools that if they practice every day, once something does come into their life that is a stressful or anxious experience or situation, they'll be prepared with the tools to thrive. And I'll be including in this a full-length movement, meditation, and mindfulness session for children that targets stress and anxiety management and relief for the mind and the body. So that's session 29. Session 30 will be exploring sleep and quality rest. So I'll be demonstrating health benefits of sleep and quality rest for developing children, targeted breathing and mindfulness support techniques to support quality rest and sleep, gentle movement practices to release physical tension and prepare the body for rest. We'll identify some core practices for children to self-soothe and at night, during the night, and also when away at camps or sleepovers. So you'll be able to teach the children you work with or your children some techniques that they can manage on their own, giving them that sense of self-empowerment to self-regulate and self-soothe as needed at night or whenever they need a good rest. We'll also be including some additional wellness tips to support children struggling with sleep issues. And again, I'll be including a full-length movement, meditation, and mindfulness session designed to prepare kids for sleep and quality of rest. So this would be a wonderful, just a little bedtime routine to make a habit of sharing with your clients or your patients or with your own children. Session 31, we'll be exploring pain management for kids, learning how to identify the source of pain, identifying reflexive responses to pain in other parts of the body and also the area that happens to be in pain. Learning to use mindfulness for pain management, supporting the body and mind while experiencing pain. So how do you truly support the body to enable it to relax rather than tensing up responding to pain? We'll also be targeting headache support here because that's something that's a little more common. We're not always sure what the pain source can be, which is why the first part of this is really learning how to identify the source of pain, seeking help first, and then the pain management we'll be learning through movement, meditation, and mindfulness will be go-tos depending on what the source of the pain is, and that's been dealt with first, and this is truly the symptomatic relief rather than a treatment. And then headache support. Headache, something that's a little more common, that we can be a little bit more generalized when we're talking about this, and I'll be giving you some go-to tips to support headache when it is just a typical headache, of course. And we'll be including a suggested targeted mindfulness and breathing meditation techniques, fully supported restorative yoga-based stretches that support the body and encourage deep relaxation. Being mindful, of course, and I'll be pointing this out in this webinar, depending on the source of the pain and the location of the pain, there will be adjustments to be made to this sequence that I will be sharing. And then session 32, nausea and diarrhea. So we'll be exploring gentle, kid-friendly mindfulness techniques to soothe and calm the body. Fully supported body postures that support the digestive and nervous systems, which are the responses that are occurring typically when there's nausea and diarrhea. And we'll be discovering some combined movement, meditation, and mindfulness techniques to help children relax, breathe, and find a state of calm and rest while experiencing these symptoms. I'll also be including a gentle movement, meditation, and mindfulness practice that targets the symptomatic relief of nausea and diarrhea. And then session 33, constipation, gas, relief, and then healthy digestion. So this kind of goes hand in hand, but a lot of the therapeutic targeted practices for gas and constipation relief also support healthy digestion. So this is a great general practice just to keep the digestive system nice and healthy. But the same techniques are also my go-tos for my patients when they're experiencing constipation and gas. And you'll see here on the screen my famous poop yoga. So I'll be including my famous poop yoga sequence. It's a kid-friendly movement, meditation, and mindfulness sequence for the symptomatic relief of constipation and gas, and also wonderful support for healthy digestion. So we'll be exploring movement, mindful breathing, and this sequence that is very, very supportive for and targets these three main concerns, all to do with the digestive system. And we all have tummy troubles every now and then, so there's nothing to be ashamed of. I always tell my patients, I've heard it all, don't be shy to tell me anything. Session 34, fatigue and low energy. So this is very important to identify the cause of fatigue and low energy, especially when we're working with kids, because it could just be something as simple as a growth spurt and the need to rest and restore the body. So understanding the value of rest and identifying core practices to nurture and nourish the body and mind with restful mindfulness practices. So being able to identify, hey, do I tap into this and I'm going to go with these practices, or do I need some energizing practices to lift me up and get me moving and on with my day? You know, maybe it's fatigue and low energy is quite broad, so we'll be covering everything here. It's like how to tap into that. If it's something the body is craving and asking for rest, let's nurture it. Or let's do some gentle practices to introduce and incrementally build body movement to increase energy levels. So I'll be showing you both of these in this particular webinar, and also some targeted breathing practices to energize the mind and the body. And some of these are great for the classroom or just little pick-me-ups in the middle of the day for kids. We'll include a movement, meditation, and mindfulness sequence at this particular webinar to energize the mind and the body. And just a reminder, all of these are wonderful for adults too. So it's not just for kids. Anybody truly will benefit from these webinars and the sequences that I show. So mental health, definitely this is one of those where I can't stress enough, seek medical advice first. But some of these practices are definitely supportive for anyone experiencing emotional or psychological problems or in need of psychological or emotional support. So in this particular webinar, we'll be identifying a core set of mindfulness practices that can provide emotional and psychological support to children. We'll be teaching children the value and importance of communication, and we'll be discussing this, how important it is to teach kids to communicate, to find somebody that they feel comfortable communicating with and expressing what they're feeling, what's on their mind. The importance of self-care, introducing this to children, and the importance of seeking support. And that may even finding support for themselves via the vehicle of self-care, or using that as part of their seeking help plan. So movement as medicine we'll be exploring in this particular webinar, and I'll be discussing the benefits of movement and how it correlates to mental health and mental well-being. Mindful movement moments will be supporting mental health with mindfulness skills and help exploring a core set that are wonderful tools for providing emotional and psychological support, but also discussing how you work with an individual to find what works for them, because that is key. There is never one size fits all, especially when we're talking about mental health. So it's really, we'll be discussing some core practices, but also really delving very deep into working with somebody, working with an individual to find and explore what works best and is most supportive for them as an individual. Then, of course, life skills, identifying reflexive responses to emotions, big or small, and stocking toolboxes with skills to shift from reflexive to reflective. So I'll be showing you how, again, to work with kids and help them find these life skill tools, movement, meditation, and mindfulness-based life skill tools that work for them as an individual. And then session 36, allergies and colds. Now, seasonal colds and allergies really aren't going to go away. And I wish I could say a movement, meditation, and mindfulness practice will stop you from ever getting colds or allergies again. Not the truth. But the truth is that while they may not go away, there are movement, meditation, and mindfulness practices that can support the symptoms and help alleviate some of the symptoms of colds and allergies. So we'll be discussing movement, meditation, and mindfulness and the role in supporting overall immune health for children. So keeping the immune system nice and healthy to maybe prevent colds and allergies, or at least minimize them. And then also we'll be exploring breathing and movement techniques that may support symptomatic relief from colds and allergies. And this session will include another full sequence of movement, meditation, and mindfulness to support children during cold and allergy season. So whether they're symptomatic or asymptomatic, and I'll be pointing out through this particular webinar which ones work for definitely when experiencing symptoms and how to adapt based on the severity of the symptoms and things to be aware of for safety. And then I'll also be pointing out ones that are just general that should be practiced every day, regardless of whether a child is symptomatic or asymptomatic. And then we'll have session 37, exploring healthy neck and shoulders. So tech neck is definitely not going anywhere. And in this particular webinar, we'll be exploring movement, meditation, and mindfulness skills for kids in the tech age. So this is definitely not just for kids. We're all victim to technology. Love it or loathe it, we're stuck with it. So the best thing I can recommend is learning to use it safely and teaching children to use it safely. So we'll be exploring some targeted practices to support healthy necks and shoulders and I'll be showing techniques that are accessible at the desk or sitting on the couch, or even that children can do before getting in and out of bed, just to really keep their neck and shoulders safe, especially after being like this for a good part of the day. Healthy habits, teaching children how to introduce valuable tech breaks throughout their day. They don't have to do complete sequences. They can just do little micro bites and still benefit. And that benefits the mind as well, to take those little computer breaks and make sure that posture, neck, shoulders, eyes, hands are all nice and safe. I'll be giving some tips for teachers in the classroom and parents at home. Again, taking those breaks and stretches that are healthy for kids, but still playful and fun that kids want to do. And I'll be including a movement, meditation, and mindfulness sequence for kids that could be practiced as a whole. Or this is the one that you can chop into little bites and just encourage your children every half hour, take a break, even for 1 minute, and do one of those stretches or one of those mindfulness activities. And that will help them to create those healthy habits for taking breaks from technology, but also making sure that their bodies are safe. And session 38, very similar, another really, really, really important component of health, particularly for developing children, good posture and strong cores. So in this series, we'll be exploring kid-friendly movement designed to develop core strength and maintain core strength. We'll also be learn how to create posture awareness and healthy posture habits in kids. And I'll be giving you loads of tips to do that. And then I'll be sharing a developmentally appropriate movement, meditation, and mindfulness session that supports good posture and strong cores. I say multiple there actually, because I will be showing you different ones for different stages, being aware of a child's development and keeping a child safe during those very changes of periods of really rapid growth and changes in the body, and how to maintain a strong core and a good posture and very good posture throughout. So session 39 will be learning challenges. And in this particular webinar, we'll be exploring how to understand learning challenges, disabilities, and learning styles. And we'll be discussing the different types of learning challenges, learning disabilities, and learning styles that children have. And then we'll be exploring how to support children who struggle with learning using mindfulness techniques. And then the link between movement and learning. So the link between moving for focus skills, the link between movement for processing and retention of information. And then we'll be including some tips for teachers in the classroom, focus-based activities in general, just to increase learning and provide many breaks for kids in the classroom setting. And then finally, we have session number 40, positive, gosh, I can't speak today, positive body image. And this is an important one, particularly in this day of technology and social media. Children are getting younger and younger, and when the age is getting younger and younger, I should say, for when children are exposed to social media, and it's even getting younger than the tween age, where the concern about appearance occurs, and just even younger and developmentally, around 5 to 8, they start really recognizing others and sizing up and comparing with others. So the positive body image is broad because of my background, but this explores children that may be dealing with positive body image issues. So it can just be body image in general, their size, their looks, and then it can be some differences if they're a little bit different to other people, if there is a disability. Most of my experience with positive body image, and it has been with patients who have a new diagnosis and a sudden change. So we'll be exploring in this one meditation, movement, and mindfulness practices as a path to self-respect, self-care, self-acceptance, and confidence. I will be discussing how to provide a safe environment for children to openly communicate. how to utilize meditation and mindfulness skills to address negative self-talk. And I say address negative self-talk because it's not negating it with positive self-talk. It's not dismissing it. It's truly supporting a child and providing them with, obviously where it's needed, a referral to another professional, but also skills to help support them and work through what feelings and thoughts they're having, to address them, not to ignore them. And then, of course, providing a different set of thought processes and mindfulness and meditation skills. But really what I like to do with my kids when I'm working with kids with body image issues, whatever type, and I'm going to give an example here. A young man I was working with, an oncology patient, lost his leg due to his cancer, and his response to me was, I can't do yoga. And he looked down at his legs, and it's like, well, of course you can. So it's really working with children to help them explore their body as it is, to embrace their body as it is, to love and respect what their body can do, what their body is, and as it is, rather than what it isn't or can't do. So, and that's something we'll really be addressing in this particular webinar, is exploring yoga-based movement to support positive body image, but to support the body and embrace the body, and to help the child find their body through movement, meditation, and mindfulness, to help them find their body, but also to be amazed by it, to help children recognize that their body truly is wonderful. And once a child realizes that, truly, not just because you're demonstrating and tell them it should happen, but once it truly happens organically through this practice, through exploring with you together, guiding the child to explore their body, to explore their breath, to find mindfulness techniques that work for them, it will bubble up inside them naturally. And once that happens, that can help to minimize that negative self-talk and minimize that lack of confidence. And they truly do begin to embrace their body. And it's a journey. It's not something that happens with one session. And of course, we'll be discussing that also in this webinar, how to truly support children along this journey and help them on this road to discovery and guide them a little to, hey, you know, this is your body and it truly is wonderful. Maybe it looks different, maybe it acts different, but it's very special, and helping a children to discover what their body can do. And this one is definitely a favorite of mine, because watching children experience that breakthrough and realize just what they can do is truly remarkable, and definitely very, very rewarding. So up next will be targeted wellness support for stress and anxiety. I hope you can join me, and I look forward to connecting with you on this learning series very, very soon.